Welcome to the Rangers Today Baseball Podcast. From the bus leagues to the big leagues, the Rangers Today Baseball Podcast has got you covered. Here's Jeff and John.
Hey, welcome to the Rangers Today Baseball Podcast. This is episode number 133, and it's over. That's what it's going to be called. I mean, normally we have a guest going on that. You want to kind of address that there?
Yeah. It's been a busy week at the Wilson household because Henry had his 12th birthday on Monday. So I had to take a bunch of boys to a water park. Anyway, so that wiped out Monday, and then Wednesday was the first day of school. So my wife and her friends have kind of made a holiday out of it. So anyway, I just the team was out of town. I had some freelance stuff to do. We tried to nail down a guest yesterday and couldn't
talk to two of them at the game yesterday.
Couldn't make it work on short notice. So this is all my fault not having a guest. So apologies to Round Rock, our wonderful sponsor of the guest segment. And and then there's some other stuff happening. We're no longer going to be with Odyssey, although it's not Odyssey's fault. They were great.
Fantastic.
Our producer, or the guy who oversees everything, Jake, was awesome, and Eli always gave us great information. So
we chose to leave, guys. It was not an Odyssey thing.
So anyway, we're just kind of in scramble mode here the next week or two, but we'll get us a guest next week. Things ought to quiet down.
Well, we're going out to
One Rangers Way, our partner, and
right.
Speaking of One Rangers Way, if you're not familiar with that, it's it's like the residential community, the apartments, the upscale apartment. I don't even want to call them apartments. You know, they're upscale.
Yeah, there's advertising on every TV. When you're seeing it, they're advertising,
and they're advertising with us. And so we'll be out there next week. But what it is, it's the only residential community right there in the entertainment district, right next to Choctaw Stadium, and you can look out the front door and the Globe Life Field. It's like a par 5 away from the North Plaza, and then AT&T Stadium's right there. I mean, it's pretty fantastic. But one of a kind opportunity.
Say par 4.
Okay, well, one of a kind opportunity to have an exclusive lifestyle with all the amenities. There's an exclusive bar. There's a sports viewing lounge. There's a swim up bar, a pool with a swim up bar.
Pet friendly.
Yeah, lots of cabanas, nice gym. They love pets. Floor plans are named after Rangers players or fans. And Eric Nadel has a floor plan. So go check those out at onerangersway.com. They're now leasing for 2025. So live like a champion at One Rangers Way. The Rangers are home right now.
Let's get into it. It's not technically over, and I'm a guy that my entire life, until they are mathematically eliminated, they are still in this thing and can go on a run. But this is it's just not going to happen this year. I don't think. I don't see a way that it can happen. It can, but you're talking about you've got to get on runs where you're winning 9 out of 11, or you're winning every series while sweeping half of them. That's kind of what you have to do.
I mean, look, there's 40 games left. They're 10 games behind the Astros.
Yep.
Astros have the tiebreaker, so the Rangers are basically 11 games behind the Astros because if they finish in a tie, they finished in a tie last year, but the Rangers had the wild card spot. They're not getting the wild card spot this year. So
unless some other teams collapse big time.
But basically, the Rangers are at the point where they have to play their best baseball of the year, be better than they were to start last year, and then they need help from the Astros and the Mariners. And the Mariners are cooperating. They just got swept by the Tigers, but the Astros are not cooperating.
Yeah, the Rangers.
So it's the numbers. They just don't add up. And like you said, it's possible. Anything's possible in baseball. You can go back through history and look at these massive deficits that have been overcome and things like that. But it took a team getting hot and a team collapsing. So. It's just going to be tough, and the Rangers are still dealing with injuries. They aren't hitting worth a darn. They'll have a game like they did Wednesday night in Boston, where they had this two great comebacks, and
then they jumped out on them last night.
They go out and think things are looking good, but they end up losing 3-2. And it was the run was against Kirby Yates, the go ahead run, and really there was a wild pitch involved that.
That was a bad pitch. I mean,
it was a bad pitch, but boy, I really thought that it could have been blocked, and it wasn't, and it allowed the runners to move up, which created the opportunity for a sacrifice fly, and that was that. The Twins are very good. They're starting pitching's good, their bullpen's good, their offense is good. So the Rangers are in this stretch where they're playing all these really good teams, and they're just not good enough. And
let me just tell you something about Yates. Did you see the steal? Were you able to watch the game? I know you had a deal last night, but so Kirby let that guy steal, and I'm telling you right now, that guy was 3/4 of the way to second base before he had even released the ball.
Yeah,
and he let that guy, and I know that he walked the next guy, so he would have moved up anyway. But when you are setting up for a double play possibly or something, the way you pitch somebody, it totally changes now when you're trying to avoid a single. The way you approach somebody, he nibbled more, and then he walked the guy after that. So, but letting that guy steal without even, it's like he never even looked over there.
Yeah,
the guy's been great all year. So, I mean,
I don't mind it there. I mean, closers traditionally don't hold runners well. I mean, they're confident enough that they're going to get their 3 outs and don't really worry. Greg Maddux was, despite all the Gold Gloves he won, he was terrible at holding on runners because he didn't really care about them. And so, but yeah, I mean there are a couple things that could have gone better, but that's kind of how the season has gone. They haven't gotten the right breaks. Like, let's say that ball bounces straight to Heim, or let's say he slides over another 3 inches, then he probably gets it. But a game of inches, I guess. But
I think it hit the plate. The way it went down, it looked like it popped kind of a little bit. I mean, it was one of those pitches that was 40 feet instead of, I mean, it was way out in front.
Yeah.
To score a run in the top of the 9th inning with no hit.
Yeah, it's tough.
Shows you how walks kill you.
Right.
Shows you how, manufacturing runs. This team, look, this is, I've said it all year. People think I'm nuts. This is a World Series caliber team. I don't care what anyone says. They have the talent on this team. They won a World Series with this team, with this lineup. Yes, they've had some injuries. They could have filled that in. They have underperformed all year long, and it's just been one of those. It's frustrating. I get it. Fans are like, oh, they weren't even good last year. Well, that's just BS.
They were good last year.
They were good last year. They were good all year. They went down a little bit towards the end. They didn't win the West.
Yeah, if you win 90 games, you're a good team.
You're a good team.
All right, it doesn't matter how you do it.
And then when you win the World Series, that means you had to go through everybody in front of you. So you are a good team.
They had to do it on the road. I mean, we've gone through all this stuff.
Yes. So, but it is just the curse of Bochy or whatever, where he doesn't go to the playoffs. It's just they just underperformed. They had last year. Some things went their way. Certain breaks during the year you would see. This year they don't seem to.
They had stuff go against them last year. Yep. But anyway, we'll talk about it all when it's all said and done. But
this offseason will be very interesting.
It will be. There are a lot of things up in the air. Is Bruce Bochy going to return? All right. Is Chris Young going to get that extension ever signed?
Is he in the last year?
Yeah. I mean, he.
Okay.
So I mean, those are right off the bat. Those are the two big issues.
They've got to be handled before we go into the offseason.
Because if you lose your general manager and you lose your manager, I mean, you're
that changes the whole landscape.
You're in scramble mode.
Well, a general manager brings in their own guys anyway. I mean, I don't think anybody would get rid of Bochy if he wanted to stay. But I'm telling you right now, that needs to be handled. What are you going to do? I mean, it's first base set. You're going to stay with Lowe. Adolis is now coming out of his funk. He is somebody you could let go. I mean, there's all kinds of decisions that got to be made.
Yeah, there are, and
look at the rotation.
Well, I think I'm reading where you're coming. One rotation spot should be settled. Cody Bradford should be in the rotation next year,
and Jacob deGrom if he comes back.
Well, but you're going to probably lose Scherzer, Heaney. You could lose Eovaldi. So anyway, you need a starting pitcher. And
does Eovaldi have an opt out?
If he reaches 100 and he has to reach 300 combined innings between last year and this year. He needs 36 more this year to make I think they call it a player option. Make a player option automatically vest $20 million. There's some incentive money in there. So, but I think he can still be a free agent. So, does he go out and say, I can make more money? Maybe he can, maybe not. He's got that injury history. He's not getting any younger. Maybe he looked at the landscape last year with, even his buddy Jordan Montgomery. They were in contact throughout Montgomery's whole ordeal and free agency that, obviously didn't end well. Although he's pitching for a real good team right now. But
they're hot. They're one of the hottest teams in National League.
Anyway, so let's say there's only 2 spots in the rotation that are open, or 1 spot even, because you'll have Mahle, DeGrom, Valdi, John Gray. All right, so you need one. You need one starter. Well, it needs to be Cody Bradford.
Yeah,
he pitched last night. Pitched very, very well.
Very good.
Pitched great at Yankee Stadium. He's been a terrific starter this year. I know he's only had 6 or 7 starts with the injury and everything, but I think that he's shown, even though it's a small sample, that he can get big league hitters out. A lot has to go right. He has to be really good mechanically. He has to have command because he doesn't throw hard, but he can still pitch with his fastball. But if he's missing over the plate, he's going to get knocked around. But
sure,
I just think that he's earned the opportunity. I really do, and I know that people are going to be fired up about Kumar Rocker. I don't think he'll be quite ready.
He won't start unless he finishes like he's doing, goes into fall, maybe pitches some, and goes into spring and is just dominating during spring.
Yeah,
he's likely going to start out at AAA, you would imagine.
Well, I mean, he had a great outing last night.
He did. Another one.
Jack Leiter had a really good
outing. Yeah.
So I mean,
Rocker's not on the 40 yet. Doesn't need to be.
But these guys these are the candidates. Like if let's say they do have to fill 2 or 3 spots.
Yeah.
Then that would come into play. I would think they would sign a guy.
Teodo.
But I don't think Teodo. He has to go on the 40, but I don't know. They still need to see some things with his command, I think. But
they've got a shop in free agency for pitching.
Well,
they always do.
A lot of money comes off the books. I mean, you're looking at Robertson. He's making a lot of money, although a lot of it was deferred. Yates, Leclerc. I don't know. Robbie Grossman wasn't making much money. Isn't making much money.
Scherzer,
that's the big one. Heaney, $13 million. So they're going to
have Gray
has another year left.
Okay,
at 14. So anyway, money is coming off the books, but I mean, if the Rangers are planning to contend, they really need to re-sign one of Yates or Robertson.
Sure.
I like
or both.
I like Jose Leclerc as a guy, but it's just
his money.
It's just not working out.
No, it's not.
And
God, what's frustrating about Jose Leclerc is when he's on.
Yeah,
he's one of the most dominant guys out there when he is on. He made last night. He got some bad luck on those calls. He walked 2 guys, but he struck out the side, and they looked silly when he was on.
Sure.
And he does that when he's on every time. Like he'll go in and give up a home run and then strike out the side, and they can't pick up whatever he's doing.
Yeah.
And it's just so frustrating to see that.
Yeah.
If he comes in on a team-friendly deal, he's not a bad arm to have out there. But
well, I mean, the extension. He signed a club-friendly extension.
Exactly.
I mean, this was
5 years ago.
It was pre-COVID.
Yeah.
And he, and so this is the last of the option years, and it's only $6 million or $6.25. So it's not that much. And anyway, it's just we're talking about these things that we didn't think we'd be talking about.
Right.
And we figured at the start of the year that we'd be talking about, oh, hey, they need to do this. And, we at this point in the season, we're like, yeah, they're in a good spot for a playoff spot. Yeah, how are they going to defend the title? All this stuff. But
let me ask this.
All right.
So, look, they're obviously not contending. They're not going to say it, and they're not just going to give up right now. But let's say this week finishes like it's done. Maybe they go 2 and what? How many home stand here?
7-game home stand.
Say they go 2-5. They don't look good. They just fall. They get 14, 13, 14 out, do something like that. Is there a point where they go, you know what? Let's send Travis, who I love. Let's send Travis on his way. Maybe Robbie on the way. Let's see what Krim can do this last month. Let's see what, a couple of these guys that have never gotten the opportunity, who just crushed the ball down there, who are guys that you can DFA in the offseason or whatever. Is there a point they do that, you think? Jankowski, who we love, who's amazing, but if they're out of it, a lot of people ask this.
Yeah, I know.
Why is he still on the team? It's like, you know what?
Last year, the Angels really did everybody a disservice last August when they
just let everyone go.
When
they just
DFA'd
when they
put a bunch of players on waivers, and those players were claimed. The Indians claimed a bunch of them, and really that Lucas Giolito start, he came to the ballpark and tossed 7 scoreless innings, and they beat the Rangers. And the Rangers finished tied for the division lead. Let's say the Indians, the Guardians hadn't signed that guy.
Yeah.
And they throw some lousy guy in the Rangers. They win the division outright.
Yeah.
Anyway, it affects pennant races. It would be treated like, the old waiver deadline, the August 31st trade deadline. All the Rangers be getting out of it is saving money. They wouldn't be saving enough money to get them back under the luxury tax threshold. That's why the Angels did it last year, to get under the luxury tax, and they ended up doing it. But even if we're not talking about, Nathan Eovaldi's making what, 17 and 16 million this year. I don't remember, but let's say he goes somewhere else for the last month of the season. That's only a sixth of his salary, so you're not saving a ton of money there. Same thing with Yates. Robertson, the money's deferred, so you're not saving enough to get you all the way underneath, and then you're affecting the outcome of the pennant races, and B, you're pissing off baseball, Major League Baseball.
They got mad last year,
and Chris Young has ties to that office, so he doesn't want to do that. The one thing I would say is that you never put anything past ownership.
Right.
They may want to save as much money as they can. And if it's $6 million, which I think is what Ken Rosenthal wrote the other day, then maybe they want to save $6 million. I don't know, but
they still don't have a deal for next year's TV thing.
Right. I just wouldn't think that that's the way they would go. I just think that, hey, let's honor the integrity of the game.
Well, I'm thinking more down the bench.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking.
I'm not talking about which.
No, I could see a scenario where that could unfold. I don't know what
Robbie's of no use
purpose,
to you. Yeah,
Robbie Grossman would have at that point if you're not a contender. You have right-handed hitters in the system who could come up and fill that role. You'd be
so he'd be more likely maybe
DFA him. You would DFA him. It would create a 40-man spot, so you could bring up Blaine Krim, let's say, as our. That's
example. The one that my example is. Why not let that guy? Now you would have to be out of it. You're not gonna do it. They're gonna see if they can get on any sort of roll.
Yeah,
this team is not giving up yet.
It
looks like it.
And you would want to do it before the 31st, because after the 31st, these players aren't eligible for the postseason.
Right.
And so if you're going to do it, you want to give them an opportunity to land somewhere.
Right. Now, if they just get in someone's organization, like if someone claims them, can they do that? Where if they clear waivers, can they sign a minor league deal with somebody and still be eligible?
Yeah. Well,
as long as they're in the organization.
I think so. Yeah. But yeah, they need to be in the organization. You're right.
Okay.
So anyway, you'd want to do it here in the next, let's say, 10 days. I just don't think they're gonna do it. The drastic step that the Angels took. You would want Nathan Eovaldi back, right?
Yes.
You want to give him an opportunity, even though he's dealing with an injury. You want to give him the opportunity to get there.
He's throwing tomorrow.
Right. You want to give him that opportunity. You don't want to, hurt that relationship if you have plans on keeping him, because he's a great teammate. When he's healthy, he's really, really good. And if you think you're going to win next year, Nathan Eovaldi is going to help you win. So that's kind of tricky. And again, when the Angels did it, it was chicken shit. And the Rangers don't need to do that. They're the reigning World Series champions. Go out without stripping away. Don't be the 98 Marlins, although they did all their fire sale in the offseason.
Right.
Don't do that. It's just a bad look for the game. It's a bad look for the franchise.
Right.
But I mean,
they've still got a good core here. That's
yeah. I mean, Marcus Semien and Corey Seager have it'll be 4 and 6 years left on their contracts.
Yep.
Or 4 and 7. I mean, it's plenty of time.
They've got Josh Young under control. They've got Wyatt Langford.
Sure. So there's no reason to blow this thing up. I mean, that's just
that's not my point. Like you said,
right. But I saw this. I've seen since Ken wrote that story about the possibility of
the Rangers doing something.
Just the idea of copying the Angels. You don't want to copy the Angels.
No,
it's not like they're not the
our buddy
poster
Ron
boy for a great franchise here. The last, I don't know, ever since the Rangers got good in 2010. I mean, how many times has Mike Trout been in the playoffs? Once. Anyway.
Well, what made it worse last year was the Angels made some trades to improve.
Right, they tried to improve, and then they dumped all those guys.
Then they dumped them all. Right, and so it was like, you know what? That's what made it look horrible. So, But
I will say this. At some point, the Rangers are going to decide, all right, we got to see what we've got in the system.
Absolutely.
And I know
that's my point.
And the shitty thing is that the September call-up rule only allows for 2 call-ups.
Used to you could
just call up everybody. I mean, it helps with pace of play, but I do like to see guys come up and get a taste and get a sense. But again, you got to your point, maybe this is Robbie Grossman's tenure is coming to an end. Jankowski, he's just such a good teammate.
He's valuable.
If you call up a young guy, let's say a young outfielder, I think you'd want Travis Jankowski there to help him. I really do. And but I don't know. But it's going to be an interesting couple weeks. It's going to be an interesting September. They got to get this stuff figured out with the GM and the manager. So anyway, and then maybe you do get to see a guy like Jack Leiter come back up and pitch. Maybe you do get to see Teodo, because Teodo needs to go on the 40-man this offseason.
Yeah.
So do it now. What's the difference?
Right.
I guess you start a service clock a little sooner, but big deal.
Well, the Rangers have never been big manipulators of the service time. They try to. I don't think. What the Cubs were the one that got the worst with the Chris Bryant.
I mean, the Angels even did it to Mike Trout.
Yeah.
If we're being perfectly honest. So there will still be reason to come to the ballpark.
Yeah.
Whether they're not playing well or where they are. I mean, Corey Seager's he's on a heater right now. He's got a chance to hit, I don't know, 35 to 40 home runs if he stays this high.
What's at now?
He's at 26 or 27.
Yeah, without a doubt. He's got.
So, I mean, you've got.
Adolis is finally at 20.
Adolis is getting hot. No, it's too little too late. Jacob deGrom is going to be healthy and pitching. I mean,
he's going out on rehab next week.
You would want to come and watch Jacob deGrom pitch. And if you need tickets, you can go download the Autograph app, autograph.ai app. They have a deal where you can buy tickets without ticket fees. You're just buying the ticket, paying the price that you're meant to pay. And this Autograph app's really good. You can read our stuff, see our podcast on there. Up in the upper left-hand corner, they have what's called the replay feature, where you can just catch up. Let's say you're like me and you missed last night's game. You need to catch up on the news and everything, what happened. Go to the app, go to the upper left corner after you select Rangers as your favorite team, and all the information you need is going to be right there. So it's a good app, autograph.ai, partners of ours. We really appreciate them. But yeah, it's it's coming to an end, but there's still reasons to go to the ballpark.
Absolutely. And we're going to go down to the bus leagues next.
Yeah,
we are. Before we do that, we don't have a guest today.
We don't.
And so why don't we go ahead and talk about who usually does our guest segment? Yeah. And they're big sponsors of us. Let's talk about the Round Rock Express. I know there's no guest today. They're our guest segment thing, but the Round Rock today, a big part of us. And what's going on with them, Jeff?
Well, they're at home right now for the rest of the weekend. They're playing the Albuquerque Isotopes, and tonight, if you get to hear this before too much longer, is the Express football jersey giveaway. Tomorrow is the ERA night, and I thought it meant ERA, but and maybe it does, but I think it also has to do with Taylor Swift.
Oh boy, okay.
And the Eras tour thing.
I'm not a Swiftie. I don't dislike the girl, but I'm not a Swiftie.
So anyway, there's that tomorrow. Kids Day on the 18th. Then they go to Salt Lake City. Then they're back in town on the 27th against Oklahoma City, and we'll be home. That's going to be the Round Rock Donuts weekend, I think. So it's a good time out there as always. We love those guys. They've been so good for us the last couple of years, and I think it'll continue going forward. So go to www.milb.com/round-rock for more information.
All right, guys, we're going down in the bus league next. Down in the bus league is brought to you by the Frisco Rough Riders. Jeff, what's going on down in Frisco?
Well, they're in the middle of a 2-week homestand. They just started it on Tuesday, and so that means they are home tonight against Springfield Cardinals. And
I was just in Springfield.
Well, all right. Tonight is Friday Night Lights, presented by Benjamin Franklin Plumbing. Head to Riders Field as they kick off football season in North Texas. Enjoy games. Dave Campbell's Texas football personalities. Greg Tepper, good guy. Aaron Hardigan, we know Aaron, a good gal. Married to my old buddy from the Star-Telegram, William Wilkerson. He works at Dave Campbell's. So post-game fireworks. Then Saturday you've got the Auditoria, which they're going to be the Frisco is going to transform into the Quesos del Frisco. You can experience Latin cuisines. I love Latin cuisine. So, and then kids run the bases after the game. 18th, Sunday Summer Fireworks. Kids Sunday Fun Day. Marvel Defenders of the Diamond Day. That's a pretty busy Sunday right there.
Yeah.
The next week, San Antonio comes into town. And look, if the rotation holds, Umar Rocker will pitch on Thursday. But that's always tentative. Be sure to check out Frisco on Twitter. They always put out their starters for the day or for the week. And then for more information, go to milb.com/Frisco.
Okay, guys, it's time to go down on the bus leagues. That's where we talk everything minor league baseball here on the show. We're going to start out. We always start out in Round Rock. We go all the way down. The only organized ball in the system that is not playing anymore is the Arizona Complex League. They are done, so we won't be touching base on them. Everyone else is still playing, but let's start at the top. Round Rock Express. You know what? Looking across all of it, there's not really but one, maybe two teams that are staying outside of what the big league team is doing and winning some ball games.
Oh.
Everyone else is kind of scuttling right now. Round Rock is 19-22 overall in the second half, 4-6 in their last 10, and they've lost 2.
Yeah.
Jack Leidert had a decent night last night.
He did. He returned after a little R&R. The Rangers like to keep tabs on their young pitchers and make sure they're getting enough rest. And he comes out, he's throwing 100. Anyway, he recorded 11 outs.
Yep.
3 2/3 innings. All right. Nice. Coming off a rest. That's probably about as far as they want him to go. He struck out all 11 outs were his strikeouts.
Yep.
I mean, he was on, and I know he's a divisive guy. He hasn't pitched well in his 3 major league appearances, and but man, it's there. There's talent there, and if he's in the strike zone and commanding the strike zone and throwing quality strikes, holy cow, he's got a chance. All right, he really does. I know people are like, oh, but he does have a chance.
He may be a guy that comes up, and you don't have. It's not like the other. He might can help the team, come up here for a multi-innings
work in the bullpen.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
it doesn't mean they're giving up on him as a rotation guy, but if he keeps
it will help him acclimate.
Sure.
My example for this is Derek Holland. Derek Holland, when he came up, was
amazing.
Was a reliever. His first appearance at Toronto, he was a relief pitcher. So anyway, and Derek Holland, by the way, had one of the most clutch relief outings in franchise history in game. I think it was game 3 of the ALCS in 2010 at Yankee Stadium.
He came in early.
Tommy Hunter after Tommy Hunter. So anyway, don't write off Jack Leiter. All right. Offensively, Blaine Crim has been hot. He's gonna his OPS is at 794. It's gonna be over 800 before the season's over. He right-handed bat, first baseman, does fine over there. Good dude.
Been on the show a couple times.
7 steals for Blaine. He's not exactly a speed demon, but and then Sandro Fabian is having a decent year. All the numbers are down in the system from last year. Fabian darn near hit 30 home runs last year. So anyway, those 2 guys are maybe guys to keep an eye on. You never know. And then of course Dustin Harris and Sam Huff, who are on the 40-man roster. So guys to keep your eye on.
Yep. So let's go down to Double-A Frisco. Double-A is, for the first time in a while, they've already clinched a playoff spot. They won the first half.
Yeah.
So they've already won that, but they are 3-7 in their last 10 games. They're 23-19, still above 500. But they've lost 4 in a row. And Kumar pitched last night and was good.
Yeah. What 1 run in 5 innings?
Yeah. Struck out. How many struck out?
I don't remember. It was a decent number. It wasn't Jack Leiter number.
No.
But it was good, And then again, he throws hard. His slider is just devastating. If you've watched any video on it,
he's had that slider since he was in high school. I think
it's an ass kicker of a pitch. Offensively, Dane Acker had a good start his last week. Mitch Brad is in the rotation. These guys are definitely guys to keep an eye on. Mitch Brad won Player of the Month, Rangers minor league pitcher of the month. Player of the month was our buddy Blaine Crim.
Yeah.
But Teodo, of course, has been the star pitcher down there. His ERA is still under 2 at 172. But Dane Acker, 3.32 ERA. He's just been steady all year. I think the problem he's had some issues. A, with the long ball. B, he will get behind in counts, or he won't be able to put guys away. But
that won't play in the big leagues.
He knows how to pitch.
Yeah,
at least at Double-A. 3.32 ERA is pretty good. So, keep watching these guys. They're going to be a good team in the postseason for sure. And offensively, they do enough to get it done. Abby Ortiz has had a good week. He's up to 215. I know that sounds terrible, but he was in the 180s there for a long time.
There too, yeah.
And then last night, I found this really surprising, but Aaron Zavala hit a home run. It was his first home run since early May. That's a head scratcher that needs to
he's been
get addressed.
This is a guy also, though. He's one of these guys that when he came in, it was all about approach with him. He was an amazing guy with approach. He really started off hot. In fact, I had predicted year before last, I thought he might have a chance late to maybe make the big league team just because of what he was doing. And then it just, he had an injury, didn't he? Or
he did. He had Tommy John.
And then just things happen. That guy's a good ball player if he ever gets back on track.
Yeah. He's Rule 5 eligible, I think. And I don't think he'll get added. He's hitting 214.
Yeah. And nobody will probably pick him up.
Can't really, So, anyway.
What's his name got moved up? Is it Osuna? Who got moved up the bat that's been
I don't know. I've missed that, but Alejandro Osuna is having a good time. He got promoted? Oh, good for him. Oh, he just got added to Frisco, or did he get moved
Isn't that up? Who's in Frisco now?
He's in Frisco, yeah. Oh, I thought you were talking about somebody got to Round Rock. Osuna's been he's just a good ball player.
Yeah.
He's a good
It seemed like we've mentioned his name for 3 years in a row. He just he was kind of a Blaine Crim type at every level. He's just done okay. He's produced well. He's had some stuff. And all right, going down to Hickory.
Sure.
Hickory Crawdads, the high A team. Hickory also 4-6 in their last 10. They lost last night. They are over 500. They're 23-22, which, they had struggled early in the year. This is another team. There's some talent at this level.
There is. And, of course, we talk every week about Sebastian Walcott and how good he's been.
The only top 100 prospect in the organization right now.
Yeah. And
I think that'll change.
He's the guy, I think he's got a chance to be a real good major leaguer. Cameron Cawley, we've talked about him all year. Glider Figueroa has gotten his average above 200, which is significant. Still hitting a lot of home runs, so that's good for him. He's a good guy, interesting. The ability to hit the long ball, and so keep an eye on him. And of course, Malcolm Moore is down there. He's only got one hit in his first 19 at bats. He's the first round pick this year, but I don't think I would worry too much about that.
That's getting acclimated to better pitching using the wooden bat, which I'm sure he's used before, but probably not near as much.
Yeah, Dylan Dreiling, who's the second round pick, he's batting .263. So anyway, those are the names to watch there offensively. The rest of the year pitching. I tell you what, Ryan Lobus, who started the year in Down East and got a quick promotion, he struck out 11 last night in a 4-inning relief appearance. Kind of piggybacking. Yeah, I said that right. Piggybacking. So good for him.
Is that where Cole Drake is?
Cole Drake is also at Down East. Another guy.
He's at Down East. Okay.
No. Another guy who started at Down East. And he's now at
Hickory.
Alejandro Rosario, same thing.
Right.
They both have ERAs under 3. So there are some promising young arms like Rosario here in all these recent top 30s that have been released.
He's jumping.
He's like 5th, I think, in Baseball America, 5th best prospect. So there's a lot of stuff going on there, and he might be kind of at the point where the Rangers are going to be watching his innings. He's at 77 2/3 in his first professional season. So they might be tapping the brakes a little bit on him, maybe shortening his outings, maybe even give him a rest like they did for Jack, and they've done it for Teodo. Yes, what to say, the 16th. Rosario hasn't pitched since the 7th. So, and he went 7 innings in that start. So this might be a situation where that's what's happening. But he throws so many strikes. That's the thing that excites me about him and Cole Drake. They just go in there and throw strikes.
That's what.
And you're like, they're. And when we had one of our minor league shows, that's kind of the organization's philosophy right now. The organization's philosophy is dominate with what you're best at,
right?
And then, so that's like the foundation, and then we'll go from there. So, just good stuff. Good job by Jordan Teagues and the group on those guys. So, but yeah, it's good. It's good that they're winning after such a dreadful first half.
Yeah. All right, let's go down to Down East. Down East is they are one of the ones that one of the hotter teams last week. They're still doing pretty well. They lost last night. They are 6-4 in their last 10, 21-19 overall in the second half. This is the first full season affiliate in the organization. It's not going to be in Kinston anymore. It's going to move next year. Actually, they're going to move and become high A, and Hickory will go back down to low A.
Yeah.
But so who are we talking about there?
Well, Shedry Vargas has been the kind of the hot hitter there. He was on the Baseball America hot sheet last week. If you kind of look at his year, he's flirting with an 800 OPS, which is pretty good, and 795, so he's above average there. He's got 34 extra base hits and 312 at bats. So you can do the math. That's about 1 every 10 at bats. He's getting an extra base hit, 20 steals. Probably could walk a little more, but he's not striking out a ton, I guess, for a younger guy.
Right.
So that's good. And then, this is where a lot of the guys who are in Arizona ended up. This is where they've continued their season. Pablo Guerrero, for instance, is one of them. Jose De Jesus, he's still batting above 300. I think he was at like 4 something last week. Yeremy Cabrera is playing there, and then so is Casey Cook, the 3rd rounder, who's playing infield. He was an outfielder at North Carolina last year, although he was a high school infielder. I guess Kip told us this on the show he was on right after the draft, that Cook had played second base for North Carolina during fall ball, but then they moved him back to the outfield. He's only played 4 games. He's got his first professional hit out of the way, but that's about all he's got out of the way.
Yeah.
and then pitching, these schedules are for the A-ball clubs. They're running out of games. You might see some promotions for like David Davalillo, Jose Gonzalez, who we've been talking about all year. They're probably the ones who are most likely, even if it's just like 1 or 2 starts, like what they did last year with Aiden Curry, just send them up to get a taste.
Yeah.
They just continue to, we talked about Rosario and Drake and how they throw strikes. Jose Gonzalez, 110 strikeouts in 81 2/3 innings and 19 walks. So
he's missing bats, but he's missing low A bats.
Right. Yeah. But still,
right.
You would think the foundation is in place.
Yep. All right. Well, let's go down to. We're not going to do ACL. Obviously, they're done. They're 36 and 24. They ended the season. Go down to the DSL. The one red team continued to be hot. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They're 37 and 16. They're in first place. They've won a couple in a row before. They had won like 10 in a row or whatever they had done.
Yeah, they had that ridiculous stretch to start the year.
Yeah, so last week I think we were 10-0 or something like that. I got to look back on it, but they're tough. The blue team, they are right now the worst team in all of the Rangers organization. They're 1-9 in their last 10. They've lost 8 in a row. They're 24 and 26. They are, and they will tell you that these are equally talented teams where they've just split them equally, but the red team seems to have just.
Yeah. And you can move players from roster to roster. And I think that's happened in a couple instances. But on the red team, Curly Martha, who was the kid from Curacao, just signed in January. He was one of the Little League World Series heroes for Curacao a few years ago. He's probably their best hitter right now. I'd say he's got an 829 OPS, 5 homers. He leads he's tied for the team lead in home runs. So that's good. It's a good team. Daniel Flames. It's spelled like flames, but it's Flames. Mm-hmm. He was the DSL Player of the Week last week, splitting time between the blue and the red team. He's played, but this is ridiculous. All right, he's played 7 games for the red team. He's batting .750. He's 15 for 20.
Any home runs?
No home runs, but he's got 4 extra base hits, 9 RBIs. He's walked more than he struck out. I mean, you see 750. You're like, all right, he's played 2 games, and he's had 2 really good games. No, he's played 7 games. All right, yeah. That's pretty good. Paulino Santana still looking for that first professional home run, but he has got his OPS up above 800 at 818. He has walked 11 more times than he has struck out.
That's good
for a 462 OPS.
No problem. We'll worry about power later. Keep that.
He's swiped 20 bases, 5 doubles, 4 triples. So there's power in there. He's a pup. He's 17, just like Martha is. So I mean, really, all these guys are teenagers, right? There's a few 20-year-olds mixed in there, mostly pitchers in that situation, but yeah, there's good talent, and they're playing good baseball. I know the blue team is stinking it up right now, but both of these teams, the Rangers have put in place a pretty good foundation on how to play the game. So
we'll see them stay.
That's good stuff, and we'll see some of these guys next year in Arizona. Some of them you may never see. Yeah, some of them might wash out or head to get released and go to another organization. Right. But it's just so many players, so many signings that don't get publicized. Anyway, but like the ones that do get publicized, Curly Martha, Yulfran Castillo, who did so well in Arizona after getting promoted out of the Dominican, and then Paulino Santana, where the big money went.
Yeah.
These guys are doing pretty good.
Yeah, not bad at all. Well, guys, we're going to wind this thing down once again. Thank you to all of you guys. Look, there's some things coming up with us. It's going to happen in the next couple of weeks. It's going to be exciting. Can't wait to tell you guys. Can't do it now. Just too much stuff going on. But we appreciate it. None of this happens without y'all. Y'all are the reason that this is even possible. And we, going to be next week. We're going to be at One Ranger Way.
Yeah.
Do all that. That's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully when we come back, we're not, we said it's over. That was the funny way to put what it was this week. Hopefully we can come back and go, maybe not. Maybe next week's episode is One Ranger Way. Maybe not.
Wait a second.
Yeah, wait a second. Whoa, maybe that's our title next week. In any case, we will have a guest with One Ranger's Way, and we're back at it. Until next time, guys, we appreciate you. Jeff Wilson, I'm John Moore, and